Hey everyone, Bobby here, and I'm continuing my Draw Sessions series from my YouTube channel. So this is technically number 5. It's a continuation from number 4 that was posted 5 years ago. But anyway, let's jump into it. What am I talking about today? Well, I just found out last week that I'm being laid off. When you hear that you're getting laid off, for those of you that has never happened before, it could be a punch in the gut. Now, I know how to deal with it because I've been through it before in my career. I'm a concept artist for video games and movies. I've been laid off a total of 3 times now since 2008. And I loved this job. The thing about it is the tech industry has been hit really hard, not only in 23, but it kind of started in 22. When you hear about tech, you think about Microsoft, Apple, all the gadgets that are coming out, the iPhone and everything like that. It also has to deal with video games. It has to deal with movies. If you're in this industry, you have to be careful about, and you have to prepare about the layoffs. You know, in January, 343 Industries just laid off a bunch of people. Last year, there were a bunch of layoffs, not just from Blizzard, but from other major companies. And then Pixar just laid off 30 people. So maybe this can help those of you listening that are going through a layoff right now, or you are fearing that you're going to be laid off. With me, there was no warning because the job itself actually felt very good. Nobody was giving vibes that something bad was about to happen. It was more of a sudden decision that was made. So there are some warning signs that you can look for. Number 1, you're given less work. It happens like that now. Was that happening with me? No, it was schedule as usual. Full-time salaried position. I was being paid very well. And the second thing to look out for is sometimes coworkers will be more distant with you as the days and weeks go on because they kind of know that you're about to go. Sometimes coworkers have the inner ear. Okay, so they hear things from other people that hear things, and they don't really want to say anything yet. Those are 2 major warning signs that something might happen. And then there's the third reason. You're blatantly told that there are going to be layoffs. Now, my first job out of college, way back in 2007, when I graduated, I got my first full-time job in 2008. Everybody knows what happened in 2008. That was a major credit. What's happening now in the economy is nothing compared to 2008. Nothing. 2008, we know that layoffs were coming, and they usually lay people off on Fridays. Well, I was laid off last Thursday. I was pulled into the office and they said, we're sorry, we fought for you, but we got to let you go. And you saw, you have a box, you got to clear off your desk. You have a police officer escort you out into the parking lot to make sure that you're not one of the crazy fools who try to do something insane inside the office. But everybody's working remote, so this time around, the layoff happened over Zoom, which it was a red flag because most of the time you are meeting your remote team on Discord. That's like the big go-to hub now. It can hold multiple rooms. It can withstand major bandwidth if you have 20, 30, 40 people all in the same meeting. Skype used to be the thing. Google Meets is but I was suddenly pulled into a Google Meet in the evening, which I'm not used to. Now, most of the time, if I have to do my art meetings with my higher ups, it would be in the evening time, but only set for 1 hour. But this was during a time where I was not scheduled to have a meeting. And I'm going to, leave names out of respect for everybody involved. Um, the layoff, I wasn't the only one that went. There were multiple artists on the team. They downsized it. They downsized game designers. They downsized some engineers. And that's just the way it is. Now, if you're going through a layoff right now, I just want to tell you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, especially if you're single and you're not married and you don't have children and you don't have that many expenses. It's way different if you have all that, which I do. I'll tell you what I've done so that it can kind of ease your mind. Whenever you get laid off, take a deep breath. Now, it was very hard to process it because I loved that team. Awesome team to work with. It's also the nature of the business. You have to think about being a CEO yourself. You're in charge of millions, billions of dollars. And then you have to look and see who's working and who can be cut and still get the job done. That's what being cut is all about. Now, if it's just one person being quote unquote laid off, no, they just got fired. They just titled it as laid off. Layoffs are basically firings, but a nicer firing, because when you're fired, you don't get severance, you don't get, you don't get letters of recommendation. But this time around, I found out Thursday evening, Friday. I couldn't sleep Thursday night. I probably got maybe 2 hours of sleep, and I had my boys over here with me. I just furnished my new apartment literally last week, and this happened. So it's kind of crazy. Now, when this happened, I started last Friday of immediately searching my contacts, all the people that private messaged me offering me a job and I had to turn down because I was already full-time work. All of the people that wanted to ask if I was interested in freelance. This is why it's so important not to burn bridges, and this is regardless of who you're working with. It's not just the art department. Okay, it's everybody. You could be a plumber, you could be an engineer, you could be a health inspector, a clerk. It doesn't matter. If you're working in these big companies, you have to pay attention on things that expenses. Think about what companies have to spend just to keep you on your job. Equipment, healthcare, all that stuff. So I sent out a major distress signal on LinkedIn, and if you're not on LinkedIn, I suggest you get on LinkedIn, because the people that would hire you to begin with are on LinkedIn. Now, I'm speaking from an art standpoint, a concept artist, somebody that draws characters and creatures every day for a living. When you send your portfolio out to companies, the art directors and hiring managers do not see it. HR department sees it. If they screen it and they like what they see, then they pass it to the art department. Same thing with recruiters, like internal recruiters. So I contacted everybody, and I have some promising leads, which is good, but you can't panic. You can't sob. You can't eat ice cream, get fat, go drink, any of that. I understand that there's a very big financial risk, and I want everybody to listen to me very carefully. In these types of situations, especially if you're being laid off and you have major bills coming up, do not use your credit card unless you absolutely have to. There are ways around it. You have to take a deep breath and make decisions rationally. You know how psychologists always say, never ever make big decisions while emotional, especially angry and sad and feeling lost, because those decisions are not good long term. Second thing is, I totally get that you have to pick up a job immediately. Try very hard not to just accept anything if it does not help your resume. Okay, you would be surprised at the amount of people in your social circle and your contacts that are willing to help you. It could be something as simple as you sending out a distress signal on Facebook and LinkedIn, and they just share it with their contacts because you never know who sees it. So please be very rational about it, because you don't want to ruin your credit for something like this. And believe me, this being laid off and all of a sudden using your credit card to just go buy stuff, your car payments, don't do it. Okay, don't do it. It's okay to use your credit card for like grocery shopping or, buying something little. Like, let's say you have a little bill that needs to be taken out of your electric bill. Okay. And let's hypothetically speaking, let's say it's like $40 to $50. Okay. You're one of the lucky ones that hasn't had to use a lot of heat or electricity, that's fine. If you're able to pay that down the next month, start side hustling. Okay. There are ways to make money. And the thing is, this is a very scary time. Now, am I still worried? Of course I'm still worried. I mean, I'm going to be worried until I know I have a secure job again. So I've been writing down all of my people that I've reached out to personally through DMs. I have then listed off all of the companies that I have applied to, and then if they have replied back with "thank you, but we have found another candidate," or "we are not going to go with you," I've crossed them off the list. I have also written down people that have contacted me because of my messages. So I have everything organized. You can't sit and wallow in self-pity. I totally get the emotions. I get it. You have to go through the emotions. Don't bottle it up. If you have somebody that you can vent to and cry to, great. Those of you listening might be one of the lucky ones where your parents actually have a good financial situation where they can help you with bills until you get back on your feet. That's great. Or you have good savings. The other thing is, folks, do not take money out of your retirement. Don't do it, because it does not help you in the long run. You have to think rationally. All right, give it a day or two. Go relax, walk, talk to somebody. Okay. Now, I live alone, so family members are very important to me, and I can't talk to my kids about this because they're 5 and 3 years old. They won't understand. Okay. Just make sure that you have family that can talk to you, you have friends. If you're completely and utterly alone, write in a journal. Journals help too. Believe it or not, journals are still your way of getting out all of your emotions with I wouldn't say feedback, with no backlash, nobody arguing back with you. Okay? It's like talking to a dog. They love you regardless. You just talk to your dog. So make sure that if you got laid off and you're very upset about it and you don't know what to do, there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you suspect that you're about to get laid off, start thinking about job hunting immediately. Okay. Even if you're kind of secure in your job and you don't really think so, because maybe you're a very important person on the team and if they lay you off, they would be screwed. Don't think like that. You'd be surprised what happens. You'd be surprised, because a lot of times they'll lay off somebody with 10, 15, 20 years experience and nobody else has that, and they'll just outsource it. So you have to think about that, folks. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to have a part 2 of this podcast. Now, my original plan, because I just started this, my YouTube channel up, so I'm kind of getting my feelers back. So some of these videos might be a little sporadic, like, I'll do a podcast here and a tutorial there. I really do want to teach drawing. I want to help people. I felt that this being laid off affects everybody. Okay, especially the art department, because it is a very, very, it's a fluid job. Okay, you can live a very nomadic lifestyle when it comes to being a concept artist, because it is damn hard to be a concept artist, especially if you're starting out. And that's another thing that I want to talk about on my channel too. So I definitely want to continue these podcasts. And if you like them, if you really like this format, I'm going to change, audio quality. I'm going to get better cameras as my YouTube channel hopefully grows. So, shameless plug, just like and subscribe so you can be updated on my next podcast, because I think my next podcast, I will tell you if I get a job or not. So maybe I'll just record my journey as it goes. Again, this is Bobby. Thank you all for tuning into this. And again, those of you that subscribed to me 10 years ago, I just want to tell you how humbled and grateful I am that you're still here. I will talk to you all in the next podcast and or video. Thank you. I'll see you around.